Hey, Captain Mike from Forbes Fishing. In today's episode, I'm finally getting around to repairing the caulk on my gunnels of my 301 Cobia CC. It's kind of been a long time coming. You can see I got some chunks missing. I've got cracking, discoloration. They just look terrible, and finally getting around to doing it. So stay tuned for all the details. We've all seen those YouTube videos where the presenter seems to make it through the project without a hitch. Everything goes silky smooth and no problems whatsoever. Well, this is not one of those videos. I'm going to be honest right up front here and say that I did this job twice. And you'll see a few hints at that. I'm wearing different clothes during the video. So I'm actually going to show you the things I did wrong, what I learned from it, and how I did it a second time. And, even some things, if I was going to do it a third time, some other things that I would possibly do differently. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoy it. So here's my first screw up. And this one was completely self-induced. If you see here where I'm pointing, you'll see that the caulk is kind of messed up looking. And what happened was I got all done this project, and one of my buddies calls me, and I just instinctively turn around and sit my ass down on the gunnel. And I didn't realize it yet, but my ass was right in the wet caulk. And it wasn't until I actually grew tired of holding the phone with one hand, I switch hands, lean back, put my other hand directly in the flipping caulk. I'm like, I feel it. I look at my hand. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So that was the main reason that I had to start over and at least do this one side over. But it allowed me to take some learnings from the first time, use some different products, and so hopefully all that will be to your benefit. If your combing is in the way of the seams, you're going to want to just take it off. I needed a deep well socket. I think mine was 3/8. Gunnel is open underneath, and you just reach around and take the hardware off, and then you could take the entire combing off and get it out of your way. Step 2 is to remove the old caulk, and the first part of that is cutting it out. I'm going to use 2 different blades here. First is a hook blade, and you could insert that into your standard utility knife, or you could, they have a special holder for it. I know a lot of roofers like to use it. The second type of blade is a snap blade, and these blades are longer. You could extend them out of the holder a little bit longer, as well as thinner. So, if you're trying to get through a real thick piece of caulk, it just seems to be easier. And I'll put links to both of these on the video description. Everything in this video you can get through Amazon. Here I'm starting out with the hook blade, and I kind of like that because of the hook in it. I felt like I could get into the contour of the gunnel and the seam there a little bit closer. The key here is you don't want to gouge the gel coat. If you came in at a sharp angle with a blade to the gel coat edge, you will absolutely take a divot out of it. So just try to run the blade as parallel. You could slide it across the surface, but just try not to dig into it. So I'm using the hook blade. I kind of like it because it does fit much of the radius of the contours of that seam. Of course, your boat and your seams will be different. It didn't work so well when going into the corners because the radius seems to change. And granted, maybe a top tier boat manufacturer, those will all be perfect. Mine were not. In those cases, that's where I bust out the snap blade, and I'm able to, do a little more delicate surgery and kind of fillet what's left of that caulk out of the hole. Once you have all the caulk cut out, you want to go through there with your shop vac and get any little crumbs out. I also rub this area down with some lacquer thinner on a rag, which is fine if you're a gel coat boat, but I would not do it if this was a painted surface. Third step is to tape off all of the seams, and you can see here I'm using regular painter's tape you can get from Home Cheapo or Amazon. And I started out cutting little hunks around the corners, trying to make bends. And then you see here, I'm trying to cut thin strips to get it to bend better. This is one of the situations where I found a better way, and I'm going to show that next. This is another painter's tape by 3M. But you won't find this at your local home store. This is really for automotive use, and you can get it on Amazon, or you can get it at your local auto parts store that sells products for painting cars. And it's just a thinner tape. It's more flexible. It's easier to do this kind of fine detail work and turn around bends and things like that. Once you're done with the fine tape, you can come back with the normal blue painter's tape and just put some wider area of protection on the gunnel. All right, so next step is caulking, and here's another lesson learned for you. Um, I use this Sika Product 291, which was readily available from Amazon, and it's a fine product. I mean, it's been on the boat. By the time I actually made this video, it's been on the boat for over a year, and it still looks great. There's no cracking. I'd say it's comparable to what the original manufacturer probably used when they built the boat. But since then, I've realized that Sika has another product, 295 UV, which is designed for large gaps. It's got an extra additive for ultraviolet ray resistance. So it's probably just that much better. So if I were to do this all again, which I'm sure I'll have to at some point, I will use the 295 UV. Before you start laying down the sticky stuff, you're going to want to have some kind of mechanism to tool the caulk bead, whether you want it completely straight across or if you want some slight radius to it. What I have here in my hand is a caulk tool. It's got one side of it is used for actually tooling a bead. It's got 3 different radii on it that you could just switch around as you need, and it has a scraper mechanism on the other side. You'll see here I have a short run, and I suggest you try a short run first unless you're used to applying caulk all the time. It'll just give you a hang of how fast it's coming out, how much you need to insert into the gap. And this stuff doesn't dry immediately. Now, if you're going to apply it in 110-degree heat, then all bets are off. I think it would cure up, or at least skin up, fairly quickly in harsh conditions. But today was a day, I'm wearing shorts, but I have a long sleeve shirt on, so it wasn't too warm out. There is some sun, as you can see from the shadows, but I can get through this portion, maybe 3 feet of caulk in one shot. Okay, last step is to tool the bead, and you want to try to do this in as little start and stop motions as possible. Try to pull it all the way through if you can. You can restart in the middle, and if you had a really long run, you're probably going to have to. But just try to do it in as little of start and stop motions as possible. Ideally, one consistent slide all the way through. One lesson learned here. I've since moved on to using Windex as a prep for tooling caulk, and I do this with silicone products inside of the home. Just a very light spray of Windex over the bead. When you go to tool it, it's just a much cleaner, much quicker process, and it's just overall easier. So I'm not doing that in this video because I picked up that tip probably a month or so after finishing this job. The last step is removing the tape, and yes, we're going to do this while everything's still wet. I've just found out it comes out better, and that's certainly true of if you're using painter's tape in a house as well. If you do it while the paint's wet and remove it, you won't get any of that pull away that you sometimes will if you wait overnight. So you're going to pull the tape off at something greater than a 90-degree angle. You're trying to pull the tape kind of onto itself, so you get a more of a tearing motion at whatever it is you're trying to make a clean line with, whether it be caulking or paint. So if you could even, if you have room to do a really acute angle, that would even be better. But certainly go past 90 at least, and make sure you have somewhere to put this. If you it's all going to be wet, sticky, caulk-filled tape. and you don't want to get that all over the boat. You may have a little touch up here and there to do. Make sure you have some lacquer thinner and some paper towels with you. But pretty much that's it. Let it dry overnight before you try sitting on it like I did. I hope you found this helpful. If so, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you and tight lines.